That man in your figure, but Sean O'Brien will be key to Leinster over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks. Such have been the injury problems at number 7. With an Easter Sunday semi-final showdown with Toulouse coming up on the horizon, 13 changes for Leinster, including Devin Toner's first outing since defeat to England in the opening round of the Six Nations. The totemic Toner's 228th appearance comes alongside Jack Dunn, who starts for the first time. Sean O'Brien with the captain's armband, probably for the last time in what is likely his penultimate RDS appearance. Robbie Henshaw also back to that Leinster midfield after what was a complicated dead leg picked up against England, and it took a full 2 months to heal. Carney's Dave and Rob in the back three, and we are all set for what is a intriguing 80 minutes in round 20 of the Guinness Pro 14. Marius Maitre is the man in charge, and there is a gale blowing this afternoon at the RDS in Dublin 4, and it is blowing as we stand currently straight into the face of these Glasgow players, and it will be the visitors to get us underway. And you're going to see straight away just the impact of that breeze as it holds up that ball in the air. It was well taken by the man starting the match for the first time, Jack Dunn, in that second row, just 23, and his impact off the bench last week was incredible. He made 28 tackles in 44 minutes, and he's in alongside Devin Toner this afternoon. For most of the season, these two sides have been top of their conferences. As I said, Glasgow coming here now a couple of points behind Munster following their bonus point win in Treviso last night. Michael Bent gets his hands on it, coming in on the tight head side of that front row. Ross Byrne back in. He was the match-winning hero in the European quarter-final against Ulster, remember? Didn't play last week. And he kicks it back in behind to that Glasgow 22, where it's picked up by Stuart Hogg. He can't quite get away from Joe Tomani. Very interesting tactically how these two sides go about their business this afternoon with so much talent. Glasgow, we know all about their counter-rucking and turnover. We know all about the back three and how they like to counter-attack also. And they're going to try and run this out of their 22. There's a Glasgow player, meantime, receiving some attention right on halfway. That's James Tracy over that. Glasgow pinned back inside their own 22. Hardy makes way, and in comes Ali Price. Try score against France in the Six Nations, Ali Price, and he hoists one up here. I think it's James Batty who's been attended to. That's gone backwards off a Glasgow hand, and after a lively opening 2 minutes, the ball into touch, and the opportunity for me to say good afternoon and welcome to Liam Toland and Hugo Seufel. Liam.
Well, an excellent exit from Leinster, a really good kick, and you mentioned the wind. It's a huge barrelling wind all the way in favour of Leinster, but in many cases when you're attacking with that wind it can be awkward. Leinster front row, second row and back row all carried to build phases, and Ross Byrne did something which he didn't do against Ulster in the European Cup match. He decided that the onrushing Glasgow defence, I'm going to keep them honest, and drills it down to Hogg. A really good exit from Leinster, good start, but unfortunately we've an injury already.
Yeah, they're going to lose their captain, Glasgow. I thought it was James Batty. In fact, it's not. It's their captain, Chris Fusaro, over on that far side. So Adam Ash is going to come in.
Yeah, you could just see him in midfield there. He was jackling over the ball, got cleared out, and obviously took one awkwardly. I know it was there, actually. It was a kick follow-through from Ross Byrne. Just caught him on the hip. And to lose Chris Fusaro, key influential figure for this Glasgow side so early, is pretty damaging.
It certainly is, with all the experience and he brings to that back row, and there's a measure of that wind again. All coming straight back in the Glasgow faces. No. We have to adjust the tactics now. Here's Sean O'Brien. Gibson Park gets that Leinster machine rolling forward with Ed Byrne, who had a cameo off the bench in the back row last week due to a couple of late enforced changes. There's that man Jack Dunn again. All action last week, as I said. Ross Byrne now, and Henshaw. Straight away there's that direct running. Larmour, danger of running out of pitch over on that far side. Back inside to Devin Toner. Great to see him back in action. Appearance number 228 for the big man today. As I mentioned, Jack Dunn alongside him. It's his 5th appearance and his first start. Now that was intended for Ross Byrne. It went in behind him, and here's an opportunity potentially now for Glasgow on the little hack through from Seymour. Will it sit up for him? Was he taken out of it by Ross Byrne? Marius Maitreya is right there, and we have high drama inside the opening 4 minutes, and Leinster will be down a man.
And you have to say, good patience in defence from Glasgow there. They just sucked, they just absorbed phase after phase. They were very much more offensive in the tackle in midfield. What that did, it allowed the Glasgow defence to wrap around the far side, and they always had the numbers to come up a bit more aggressively, and they forced the error. And Tommy Seymour, you sort of thought, here, just get your hands on it. But in the end, he's been penalised, he's been fouled from behind, tackled from behind, and a yellow card, and the first chance here for Glasgow.
It's an interesting, Hugo, it's an interesting tactical for scrum half Ali Price when he's trying to box kick out. The traditional box kick is a real lottery, isn't it? And the problem when you do that box kick and if you give possession to Leinster aside, who can build the phases and build the phases, you rely then on a broken field breakdown like that, but that doesn't happen too often from Leinster.
No, and I think the wind's that strong, it's almost gale force, where I think you've just got to play from deep. You've got to hold on to ball, frustrate this Leinster side. They want the ball kicked back to them. That back three, the two Carney brothers and Jordan Larmour as well, you know, there's so much threat there. Do not kick loosely against this back three.
So perfect early opportunity into the wind for Adam Hastings. And he strikes it well, no mistake whatsoever. And they are 3 points to the good, and they are a man to the good.
Well, you got to give Ross Byrne some credit for his wheels to keep up with Tommy Seymour. He was more than a match pace-wise.
Yeah, he really was, and he did well to react quickly as well. It was him that threw the pass onto the floor in between a couple of the Leinster players, but he tracked back well. In the end, took one for the team.
No, I think he's directly in behind Tommy Seymour, and he's just trying to judge when it might bounce up into the breadbasket and can he legally make a tackle. But the cavalry was arriving in the shape of James Tracy and Dave Carney, and as it is, Leinster without their fly half. So here they go with Price and Hastings again. Glasgow galvanised by the yellow card and the early penalty. It was very different last week when they fell behind quite early to Ulster, but they felt their way into the game and they were very strong thereafter. And that's loose from Hogg and into touch, and Jamison Gibson Park just for a fraction of a second was keen to go early.
Yeah, and those are the areas you've got to be so solid. You've got to be your execution's got to be spot on. If you're going to run from deep, if you're going to keep hold of the ball, you have to go through 15, 20 phases and not cough the ball up that easily.
But obviously Ali Price has decided that kicking game isn't the strategy, so they want more reward from this ambitious attack from inside their 22.
Devon Toner back in there calling the line out. Lots of variation from a Leinster point of view, and there's a little bit of a rush of the blood to head from Adam Ashe on Devon Toner. The line out meantime was taken by Keelan Doris. 26 tackles for Keelan Doris last week against Benetton. He and Max Deegan were excellent in that Leinster back row. Straight into the hands of Henshaw, who feeds Tamani and his outside centre partner this afternoon. Dave Carney goes in, feeds Ed Byrne. He's having a terrific season. Away goes Michael Bent, the New Zealand-born Irish international, back in to that front row. And here's Sean O'Brien. Now, was that a little bit high? Out goes the arm of Marius Maitreya. Potentially something more here for Leinster now as they look to hit back to 14 against 15.
It's hard to know exactly who's slotted into the Leinster 10. There are all sorts of players are popping up as first receiver.
Gibson Park gets it away to Tamani, and he gets those legs pumping in Leinster up to 5 metres here. The captain, Sean O'Brien, good carry from him again. Still the advantage for the high tackle. They get it away to Byrne. And both he and his brother Brian Byrne have been prolific try scorers this season for Leinster. Gibson Park assesses the options. Keelan Doris is one, Josh Murphy is one. And here's Tracy. Rolling away out of the tackle, and it's slow ball, no advantage coming. Back we go for the penalty.
High tackle. Yeah, I was about to say they'd almost want to take the 3 points there. Glasgow, it felt like seven was coming. The momentum they were creating, every carry from Sean O'Brien, from Michael Bent, they were just getting over the gain line. It just gave them that space in the outside channel. I'm sure they'll just look to slot this easy kick over to make it 3-all.
there without a recognised kicker, if you like, and in these conditions, I just wonder, will that have an influence on what they're going to do here? Rob Kearney showed an interest, but as it is in tricky conditions, nothing simple without Ross Byrne, so they'll go to the corner.
But throughout all those phases, like, there was no natural out half stepped up to take control of it. It just shows you the power of the Leinster systems, that they didn't necessarily need it. But as the game goes on, you definitely need a 10, because they need to control in general and manage all the resources.
A lot of times this season it would have been Noel Reid's prerogative to go in there. He started a lot of games at 12, but of course quite happy to play at 10, as he did last week before being forced off quite early in the game with an injury. There's another advantage here. Glasgow need to be careful just to keep this penalty count down, particularly inside their own 22, otherwise it's 14 aside. Funnel back slowly from O'Brien to that man Michael Bent again.
Still advantage if you want.
Gibson Park waits. In goes Murphy. Oh, and it's picked up here by Keelan Doris. That was a good tackle, and it had to be. Here's Toner now. Devon Toner just 3 metres shy of the Glasgow line.
Advantage offside.
They've gone low to Henshaw here.
Release two. No.
Absolute arrow of a pass from Gibson Park, and now he throws one all the way over the top, and Kearney. And Dave Kearney gets in, and there was a sense of inevitability about it from a Leinster point of view. It was managed by Jamison Gibson Park. They tried and tried to go straight through the front door. In the end, the vision of the scrum half, the space for the winger, and the feet to finish.
You could probably trace that back to Glasgow's exit strategy. They decided not to kick because they can't kick, and all of a sudden they're soaking up amounts of pressure in phase after phase. Their defence stayed very, very strong, and it was a wild pass and a 1-on-1. So really the advantage was still in Glasgow defensively, but superb feet from Dave Kearney to get across.
Yeah, brilliant pickup from Robbie Henshaw. He got fired the ball by Gibson Park, just stepped on the pass and just created a bit of space, create that quick ball, and then good vision there from Gibson Park, and in that position, hiding to nothing for Stuart Hogg at fullback.
th try in Leinster colours for Dave Kearney.
You have to drop kick it, okay?
Wonder how much practice Joe Tamani's done.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, particularly
with a scrum
in
half lying
conditions.
in front of him at the same time.
Yeah, it's not a bad effort, I can tell you, but he just hasn't managed to judge it. Only a couple of feet to the left of the uprights, but it's Leinster back in front.
And what's so impressive about Leinster there, they're down to 14 men. You know, it just doesn't faze them. You talked about, I was speaking to Felipe Contefermi before the game, and he was saying that the best thing, that they had a game earlier in the season where Johnny Sexton pulled out, Ross Byrne stepped in. It's not about who steps in, it's about the structures they've created at Leinster to make it easy for those guys to step in, and we've seen it just there in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've seen it over the last 18 months and more, since Leo Cullen and his backroom staff have really put their imprint on this team after what was a difficult start 3 years ago, but they all sing off the same hymn sheet now.
Glasgow 4 in the backfield covering, so this is real attack opportunity if Leinster want to run it. Rarely will you get 4 in the backfield.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and they've almost anticipated it with a win from deep that Leinster are going to kick, but if Leinster can spot that space, we know there's one team that can make the most of it.
And as a result of the wind and the depth of the kick from Gibson Park, there was no challenge on Tommy Seymour. And it's Glasgow ball approaching halfway. Hastings tries to get away from Michael Bent. And it goes now to Fraser Brown, and through the hands go Glasgow. We've seen so much of this season. They've been excellent. Matt Fagerson now.
The ball is always available. No man.
Price. Fraser Brown again. Price gets them moving forward. Solid challenge coming in there from Josh Murphy. Tonsillitis last week forced his late withdrawal. He was replaced on that side by Max Deegan, with Scott Penny coming in. Now Hastings, what can he manufacture here with Hogg potentially? Had a little look to see what the options were, and they sling it wide to this man Matawalu. Can he find a little bit of open country? Devon Toner did well to pull out of that before he was risking
number 8
Marius
offside.
Maitreya's whistle. Keelan Doris is offside. Penalty coming here for Glasgow. Carried into contact by Rob Harley, wearing 6 this afternoon.
Missed.
Having been shifted there from the second row. Adam Ash coming in. And there's an opportunity here for Hogan, straight wide to Matawalu. Leinster get the numbers there. Here they come again, though. That's a good tackle from Tomani. Putting Ali Price back 2 or 3 yards through. Comes
Ball was
Toner.
out, no problem.
No advantage coming. Back we go for the penalty.
Much better from Glasgow. What I've liked about Adam Hastings, just to talk
8.
about Adam Hastings for a bit, over the last few or 4 weeks, he's really played at the line. His decision-making at the line has been so much better, and he's just getting this Glasgow juggernaut. When they get a bit of momentum, when they get the possession that they need and the continuity, they're very difficult to stop. And we saw there, probably should have made a bit more out on the left-hand side there. 3-on-2, good defence from Leinster, though, just snuffing it out.
But you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to suck the Leinster defenders narrow, and as soon as they get a couple of phases when they suck them narrow, then they're going out wide. Could Stuart Hogg have carried the ball in 2 hands and fixed the last defender before he released? I don't know, but you can see what they're doing, up the middle and then attack where the lack of spaces or the lack of players are from Leinster point of view.
Yeah, Stuart Hogg probably, by his standards, probably should have held on to it a bit longer, just pulled in that last man, but in the end they couldn't quite finish it, but they've got an opportunity here just to sneak it back to 1 point.
Don't risk it, okay?
Should be straightforward, but nothing really straightforward for the kickers this afternoon. Yeah, plenty of conviction and confidence behind that one, and from straight in front, Glasgow retake the lead courtesy of the boot of Adam Hastings with his 2nd penalty of the afternoon. Ross Byrne is back with us, so we are back at 15 aside.
Yeah, the first real time that Glasgow have had a chance to keep hold of the ball, to get out of their half and play rugby in the right areas, and certainly made the most of it. Probably could have come away with a bit more, but they'll be happy with the 3 points. Just keep plucking away at that scoreboard, just keep building it.
Carried into contact again by the combative Fraser Brown, and again Glasgow find that line break now. They find great support. Oh, wonderful opportunity here for Sam Johnson, and he just fends off Ross Byrne, and Sam Johnson is in for the Glasgow try, and the Warriors have hit the front in real style here. It's another typically brilliant line break from deep inside their own half, and they cut Leinster open.
Timo Oli.
Well, he's going to have a look here, isn't he? Is it forward pass maybe from Ali Price?
The last ruck before the break is made on number 3 blue.
So
I'll put it on the screen for you now.
checking obstruction, possible obstruction.
Yes, taking a player beyond the ball.
Okay, interesting.
Well, certainly the line break from behind the base of the ruck was clean. There was no scrum half. Like Leinster Irish Rugby don't put their scrum half in that defensive position anymore. So if you get through there, you get a clean run. So I think it's the next breakdown.
Once you had to clean it on number 3.
Where there's no natural scrum half defending that area. Where you, back in the day, you'd have had a guy there, but there's a clean.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is it looks like, is he talking about them taking him out past the wall, the clean out. They take him out.
Cleared out by 2 men.
Creating the space.
Brought to ground, so.
I think it'd be pretty unfortunate to.
Number 6, I think it is.
He's not part of the ruck anymore.
7 blue. Glasgow is entitled to play number 3 blue because he's part of the tackle, so he's being cleared out. So it's not the first man standing besides. So for me, it's a legal clean out.
You can see there,
unless you show me.
it looks like he's saying for him it's
No, that's all the angles we have, Marius. If you're happy, that's fine.
I think he'd be pretty harsh to.
But for me, he was part of the breakdown. He was part of the whole engagement, the traffic, if you like, the general traffic. He was in the process of making a tackle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Try stands.
Try. Number 3 is part of the tackle, so he's entitled to be cleared out.
How
not.
far past?
He was just. It's 2 on 1, so it's normal just to go 1 meter over. Okay, so it's not the last man.
That's the way it's going.
Thank you.
So he explains the decision to the Leinster captain, Sean O'Brien, but the try from Sam Johnson, the man who scored for Scotland against Ireland, of course, in the Six Nations, gets one here at the RDS. Brilliant awareness from Ali Price.
Well, what Sean O'Brien was asking was, at what point do you quit that process? He was definitely part of it, therefore he was entitled to be driven out. The 2 guys came in, through the gate or whatever technical word you want. So that's fair play.
Yeah, I have to say, I think that is fair play. I mean, sometimes there's different interpretations of it, isn't there? And Marius Petraeus, I think, made the right decision there. I just want a word on, we spoke, Liam, about Sam Johnson beforehand. Slightly unlucky to halfway through the Six Nations, being jet zoned out. He was probably one of the star backs for Scotland, and he is an outstanding talent. Support line, brilliant there, but Ali Price, it was all about Ali Price. It's all about, in these conditions, playing into the wind, your decision-making has to be spot on, and he got it absolutely spot on there, and the support line to finish it from Sam Johnson was outstanding.
Over the top it goes from Hogg, and all of a sudden, 16 minutes in, the ball has been thrown around in typical Glasgow style. They come into the game, of course, as we know, as the team with the most clean line breaks in the Pro 14. They average 11 again, and we've already seen 3 or 4 inside the opening 16 minutes. And they kick the ball fewer times than anyone else.
Leave. 7.
Johnny Gray, Centurion last week against Ulster.
He took a nice shot from Sean O'Brien as well, whilst carrying into traffic.
Blue. Advantage.
And it's been picked up by TMO there. That was Sean O'Brien landing a 10-peg shot.
Penalty.
Yeah, we both looked at each other. He's not going to get away with that.
Number 7, no arms tackle. Just outside the 22.
Tell you what, this is
Number
not a position
7,
you want
no
as a kicker, kicking to touch, middle of the pitch,
Thanks,
on the 22. It seems like a long way to the touchline.
And Sean O'Brien's physical body shape, like he's so powerful in his core that all he has to do is enter any form of contact and he's going to do damage. But he's got to get his arm around, he's got to land a proper tackle, and that's a fair call from the referee.
Yeah, and you've got to...
He sounded very frustrated by the referee's interpretation, the breakdown, and I think he hinted, well, if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. So he brought a bit of his own interpretation.
But you need to make an attempt to wrap your arms.
Yeah, and you've got to keep your shoulder away from the head and neck area, that's for sure, or you risk further sanction. And Hugo was exactly right about the wind, using all his kicking experience. That ball barely made it to the first row of the stand. Cummings takes the line out, fired infield to the try scorer Sam Johnson from Ali Price, and Ross Byrne comes up on the line to make the hit. Price again, pop one back inside. It was speculative at best. Matt Fagerson tries to tidy it up from a Glasgow point of view. Hastings. Carney brothers are back there, and it's Rob who takes seniority. And Dave comes in to protect the ruck. And away goes Ed Byrne.
Missed it, 2.
No Byrne brother, twin on the bench this afternoon. Ross Byrne now to Henshaw. Wide it goes to Larmer, back inside to Tamani. Can he get beyond Fagerson? Matawalu goes in there just to try and slow things down, and here comes Devon Toner. Ross Byrne, plenty of options as always with ball in hand, and one of those is Dave Carney.
But the Glasgow defence did really well just to suck him in there into that cul-de-sac.
Back in behind it goes from Sean O'Brien to Robbie Henshaw. Tamani now. Tamani, it's a very strong handoff, and then he smashed in the tackle. Still the physicality is ramping up here. Almost through the first quarter of the game. Glasgow leading 13 points to 5. And Leinster have turned the ball over in contact.
You've got to give credit to Glasgow there. I felt the opposite was going to happen. I felt a few more phases and they were going to be broken by this Leinster side. Leinster, you always feel if they go beyond 5 or 6 phases, you're in trouble.
The one thing I would say, though, Hugo, is that Glasgow, when they're carrying the ball, have a tip-on option or a pop back inside, regardless of. Whereas all those phases were one carry up, powerful carries from Tony and these guys, but they weren't necessarily looking for an offload and looking to give somebody else the ball or the space. But that's a subtle difference maybe between Glasgow and what Leinster are doing. And Leinster now, that's 4 penalties to 1. So with that wind, Leinster are handing all the opportunity to Glasgow.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and there is options for Glasgow. I mean, we haven't seen as much possession in the right areas for Glasgow, but when they've had it, they have looked a real threat, and I think that comes, as you say, from 3 options every time the 10 gets the ball.
We heard Leo Cullen before the game talk about how Leinster needed to be accurate when they arrive, when the players arrive at the breakdown, to protect the ball carrier and get there in time.
Number 22, Pete Horn, replacing number 12, Sam Johnson.
Sam Johnson has been forced off here, so Peter Horn comes in.
And again, that is not a change. No disservice to Peter Horn, but they play in a completely different way. Peter Horn is almost like an additional 10. He's another ball player. Sam Johnson direct, creates a platform for this this Glasgow pack to get around the corner, for the backs to exploit the space out wide. So they might have to just adjust their approach a bit with Peter Horne at 12.
Yeah, he played at fly half for Scotland against France in the Six Nations. Glasgow's line-out continues to work pretty well with Cummings, the target once again. Back inside it goes from Hastings. Quick hands, and Glasgow very alert. Hastings to Hogg now. Can he get away from Ross Byrne? Price. No way through on this occasion. Initially from Johnny Gray. And now Hogg. Good awareness from Sean O'Brien. Jamie Batty in there, and they get it moving to Cummings. Support was good as well to the ball carrier here, and Leinster's defence sets once more. Oh, that's loose. Matawalu picks it up. Larmour almost got his hands on it. And the big Fijian needs no second invitation.
Ball was out.
Sean O'Brien quickly out of that Leinster line. That was Peter Horne's first real involvement, and it's good appetite for the tackle from Tamani, making life difficult. They've driven Glasgow back 15-20 metres here.
I tell you, Stuart Hogg has really taken ownership of field position. He's offering himself every time around scrum half. Loitering in there just behind. He's coming down the blind or open, giving that option.
A few howls from down beneath us as Adamash cleared a Leinster player out. And here is Hogg. Gets his pass away. It was difficult for Adamash, and it's been picked up by Ross Byrne.
Advantage over.
Just watching there, Hugo, Hogg, he obviously realises the importance, but he has the ability when he's carrying the ball to kind of suspend time momentarily. There's no one getting a clean hit on him, and he just seems to burn the clock so well, but he's offering himself in around that neutral blinds area for scrum half to pop up and give him an opportunity, blindside or open.
Yeah, benefit of playing fullback. You can see exactly what's going on in front of you, and you can pop up in different areas to be the support runner. But I agree with you, what he's really good at is he waits for the defenders to sort of make a decision before he decides what he's going to do, and it looks as if it gives him far more time on the ball.
Release now, Blue.
Hogg again. Hogg in possession. He's seen so much of the ball in the opening 22 minutes here. That's Johnny Gray brought to ground, and here's Scott Cummings. Only 22, he's having a very good season. That's carried on with interest from Fraser Brown. Decent pick-up in there from Harley now. What can they manufacture with that man Hastings?
No, the ball is always available.
Glasgow dominating possession.
Leave him. Hey.
Really good spell in the game for them. Can they find some kind of purchase though and penetration?
Tackle now, release please. Tackle, 6.
That was a pretty fine hit from Josh Murphy, the blindside wing forward from Leinster, stopping it dead, in fact knocking him back.
The player who made his debut against today's opposition in 2017, Josh Murphy.
Roll, Blue. Leave.
Another of the young back row brigade coming through, 23. And that's a penalty against Robbie Henshaw.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty harsh. It's difficult to see on the far side. I think he's penalised Robbie Henshaw for not rolling away. I don't think Jordan Larmour, who came in on the ball, actually was doing a perfect job. I think it was a Robbie Henshaw not rolling away. They had Glasgow exactly where they wanted them in defence there, Leinster, and frustratingly gave a penalty away.
Let's go, please.
Tell you a guy who's really controlling proceedings, Ali Price. Not just for the try, obviously the break, but you can see him chatting, just getting forwards in the right positions. Different sort of player to George Horne. For me, when George Horne and Adam Hastings are playing, they're too maverick almost together. You know, to have George Horne coming off the bench is absolutely outstanding, but to have Ali Price, their bit of experience controlling things, has been really good in this first 25 minutes.
And once again, it's Johnny Gray, the target in the line, well found by Fraser Brown. Now Hastings. Hogg inevitably runs a good line, and on a shorter line coming in Off his wing, Matawalu mixing things up here. Glasgow trying to change the point of the attack and keep the Leinster rear guard guessing. Turn over a ball now, and away goes Murphy. Support from the captain, Sean O'Brien. Leinster up over halfway very quickly.
Lost now, off your feet, leave.
Glasgow managed to slow it down. Devon Toner gets it away to Tracy. Didn't really have anywhere to go to his left-hand side. Only Henshaw was there. Gibson Park now. Ross Byrne has spotted a little bit of a gap. Jack Dunn gets there and support. So too Ed Byrne. Gibson Park.
I tell you, Hugo, some of the Glasgow defenders are looking to fatigued a little at this stage. You know, they put a mammoth effort at this stage to put themselves 13-5 in front, but there's a couple of the front five are beginning to stroll out of position, not quite working hard enough to get back into defence. That's dangerous from a Leinster point of view.
Yeah, if they get that second pass in, you feel the options for Leinster aren't quite there at the moment. You said it already, but they almost need to get that second pass in and just test the fringes, get it outside those 2 or 3 forwards who are really struggling to work around that far side. Here, I sort of felt they could have kept the ball in hand. You know, like they've made all the hard yards. They've worked hard. They've tired out those Glasgow forwards. Just keep hold of it.
There's nothing at all wrong with that hit. That's a massive turnover hit, knocking the ball carrier back and also gaining ball possession. Just looking at the penalty stakes. Leinster at 5-1, which is every time Leinster give away one of those penalties, it allows Glasgow just to burn the clock and take the tempo out of the game and obviously hold possession. So that's that. If Leinster just tidied that part of the game up, it would make a big difference in these closing minutes of the first half.
Yeah, and especially at this stage, you know, when you're playing into the wind as well, you want that respite. You want to just burn down the clock. You want to get into half-time. If you can get into half-time with a lead for Glasgow, that's psychologically huge.
It's good.
Oh, interesting game down in Galway. Connacht in front with a try, but the Cardiff Blues have hit back. All the permutations and
what a weekend of rugby, Conor, like between last night and the Munster. What an amazing victory for Munster yesterday against all the odds in many senses. And down in Galway there's another cracker evolving.
Hey, stay 10, stay.
Very, very tight.
More.
Between still 3 or 4 teams to try and
Don't
join
change your mind for blue.
Ulster, Leinster, Munster and Glasgow in the playoffs. Will it be Connacht? Will it be Cardiff?
4.
Will Benison get there? Edinburgh still in the conversation. The ball is trapped in underneath. Josh Murphy.
You can hear all the Leinster players telling the referee exactly what they think. A variety of different interpretations of the breakdown and the laws.
You can hear them all shouting more, telling the referee they'd kept it off the floor and it needed to be a turnover. And I think Maris Maitreya, after giving 5 penalties against Leinster, decided this time it was going to be in Leinster's favour, and rightly so. Mind you, it's on the floor there, but it just wasn't coming quick enough.
It's the first scrum, okay?
The first scrum after nearly a half an hour rugby in these conditions, that's extraordinary skill set from both sides.
As you say, that says a lot about the skill set. And it really has been, in these conditions, it has been top draw.
Crouch!
Glasgow scrummaged very well last week against Ulster, very much in the ascendancy in that department.
I don't know, Hugo, if you're aware of the loose head debate here in Leinster with Jack McGrath, who's had a horrible season with injury, has just come back. Ed Byrne and Peter Dooley, but Ed Byrne has been sensational, and obviously you got Cian Healy. Just that battle alone with the games coming ahead, there's a real debate over who should be selected ahead of Cian Healy or who should be behind him. Also, it's really interesting subplot. I don't know if you're aware of it, but this guy Ed Byrne's a cracking loose head prop.
Well, yeah, it's great to see him getting so much game time. I mean, he's played a lot. You know, you've got the likes of Cian Healy. Cian Healy's been injured quite a bit, but he has been an absolute stalwart over the years, and I've always loved watching Cian Healy. When Cian Healy's on the rampage, there's no better sight.
When you're in the safety of the far side of the pitch or something, isn't it?
I'm just standing at the back, or I was anyway, so way out the way of all that.
Well, I fancy we'll see him in the second half. We might see Tadhg Furlong and Sean Cronin as well, the 3 that most likely will start on Easter Sunday against Toulouse, when they will need Cian Healy to be at his rampaging best, as he was when they beat them here in the group stage.
Crouch! Bind! Set! advantage, play advantage.
Advantage coming here as Keelan Doris controls the ball at the base of that Leinster scrum, taken on by Henshaw. On the short they go from Gibson Park. Good awareness again to pick out Larmer.
Still advantage if you want 9.
Toner waits, and it's Keelan Doris as well. Harley can't stop him. Back for the penalty. Glasgow offside. Roman gone quickly here with Gibson Park to Larmer.
Roll!
Leinster come seeking their second try of the afternoon, and they look to their captain Sean O'Brien. Tracy is over the ball. Jack Dunn is there as well. Ed Byrne takes it on. Leinster going through the phases now. O'Brien once again. Michael Bent goes in. Jack Dunn waits. Makes another yard or two, and Ed Byrne will look to do the same around the corner. No real latch on. It's single man carries at this point. Tracy now in behind Sean O'Brien. No way through as yet. Josh Murphy.
A brilliant defence, to be fair to Glasgow as well. They've kept the shape across the line. Yeah,
they kept everyone on their feet, and you can see there all the Leinster players are around the ball. Only got attacking set up one way at the moment.
On the fringes on the pick and jam again from Ed Byrne.
Use it.
Carney waits poised should they decide to go wide. Not a day for crossfield kicks really for Ross Byrne, but if anybody can execute them, he can. It's very much his forte, but it's up to the forward pack and Jack Dunn. Is there a little gap there for James Tracy? No way through. Resilient, robust defence, and plenty of ballast from the Warriors as well. Past the half-hour mark. Progress, if any, is slow at this point as we reach phase 11. Gibson Park, change of direction, 2-on-2 on the outside. Matawalu and Hastings. Now where is that going to end up? It's back on the Leinster side. Good tackle again from Ali Price. He's had a very effective 31 minutes. As Hugo's been saying, these are an end product here, time and again, particularly here at the RDS this season. When Leinster get up around 15-20 phases, they find a way through. They wear the opposition down. They're endeavouring to do so this time with Michael Bent, the tight head. Ed Byrne. Again, it's a strong tackle from Fraser Brown.
And that's the value of having a big meaty second row like Johnny Gray there. He does some damage in the defence around the fringe.
Glasgow hand on it. I think it was Adam Ash, but he's cleared out of the situation. I think Josh Murphy might have taken a bit of a knock in that previous phase. Leinster carry on as they approach 20. A little bit loose at the base there. It was picked up by Ed Byrne. Gibson Park now. What are his options? Henshaw. And he does beat the first tackler. He almost got away from Sander Fagerson too. Gibson Park now to Sean O'Brien. That's a little bit quicker for the Leinster scrum half now. Recycled better and clear out is good from the team in blue. Michael Bent. Gibson Park again. Flat to the line goes Keelan Doris. In goes Larmer and Tracy. Back against the green goes Jamison Gibson Park. And all of a sudden Leinster are back out 15 metres and more. 25 phases now. O'Brien waits and collects. In goes Ed Byrne. Harley tries to slow it down and turn it over. Now they go wide to Keelan Doris, and he pops one away to Carney. 2 against 1 over on that far side. And Carney outnumbered and ball back in field, but they're up to 5 metres again, and there's a little bit more impetus about this Leinster attack. 30 phases now. Jack Dunn, that looked a little bit high. Yeah, that's going to be a Leinster penalty now. Potential shot to nothing now if it comes back to Gibson Park. Tracy still has it.
High tackle number 3.
What an amazing set from both sides.
We have a high
the
tackle.
Discipline to keep hold of the ball from Leinster, quite direct, not really offering too much. Glasgow seem to always have. I think the way the offensive tackle each time, because they were so dominant and so strong in the contact area, they managed to keep more players on their feet than Leinster every time. So there's no real space for Leinster to go to.
Well, that's why someone like Johnny Gray, he's a force multiplier. He's knocking, like he's counter-rucking, and he's really putting pressure on Gibson Park at scrum half. Really good play. I've some sympathy for the defending side, because the first hit was legal, and then as he's tunneling through Dunn, is what are you supposed to do as a defender? Are you supposed to opt out of the tackle there? It's an awkward one to get right, that one.
Prime opportunity for Leinster. Oh, a little bit loose. It was Doris initially. Josh Murphy was there, and they're outside the 22 with Ross Byrne. Now can they make amends? Dave Carney. Tackled by Fraser Brown. Done again. Now what's the referee, or potentially Joy Neville on the near side, spotted here?
Offside every single number 8 black for offside, but as you blew your whistle.
Number 8 black offside.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We stopped the game, but before was number 8 black offside, so we start with a penalty. Offside.
Well, so it's another Leinster penalty, and it's another one to be pinged down into that Glasgow corner.
Just shows you the pressure that Leinster are putting on this Glasgow defence. The penalties now are stacking up on the Glasgow side, which gives you an insight into the pressure.
Let them go to ground.
Like, it's ruthless, the amount of effort and energy to defend it, but also to ensure that you control the ball. So anytime Leinster are carrying the ball, there's 2 guys clearing out. It's exhausting trying to keep the technical side of that going.
Yeah, you wonder what effect this will have 20 minutes before the end of the game.
And this time, there's a switch in the line-out. Devon Toner came forward to get airborne at 2 and take it, and away goes the Leinster number 2, James Tracy. It's there for Gibson Park. Henshaw. Tamani goes in. Again, Gibson Park loses his footing just as he was about to deliver that pass. They're offside again here. Testing the patience of Marius Maitreya, the referee. Byrne. Oh, it's been juggled, and it's Rob Kearney. And Rob Kearney gets the try. And it took an age for it to come, and it's taken quite a while for Rob Kearney to smile in celebration of a Leinster try, because that is his first since 2016. It's only his 2nd try in Leinster colours for 5 years plus, but he took it well after he juggled.
Yeah, fully deserved from this Leinster side. They've put Glasgow under so much pressure for the last 5 or 10 minutes. You thought they were going to go in there with Tracy, but then a little juggle there. Luckily it was in the breadbasket, managed to pop up straight into his hands. And Rob Kearney, you can see the delight on his face. But the pressure has told. It was coming for the last 10 minutes, and they would have been really disappointed they hadn't come away with at least 3 points. They've come away with 7, and they're right back in it.
Conversion is good, and it's a single-point game.
I don't know, is there a better side in the Guinness Pro, or certainly even in Europe, that can sit 10 metres from the opposition try line and just phase after phase after phase and keep building, keep the patience. Because as I was saying, to protect the ball, it takes unbelievable technique to cover the ball without giving away a penalty, and also to get in to win the shoulder competition.
I don't think I've ever seen a side as well, just a general point on Leinster, that can score points so quickly. You know, there's some sides that, okay, they've had to graft their 31 phases, but there can come a time where they get the ball back here and they score again, then they score again, and that's what you have to cope with this Leinster side.
What a take that is from Scott Cummings. Swirling breeze sent it straight over the head of Jack Dunn, but it was a brilliant field from the Glasgow 2nd rower. In goes Fraser Brown. Now can they find a riposte straight away before half-time, get themselves back in front here, potentially Glasgow. Hastings. Batty. In goes Sander Fagerson there for Ali Price, and the big guns line up, queuing up. Cummins again.
Rock, no hands now, 7. Off your feet first. Use it.
Johnny Gray takes it on. Fagerson, Harley there too. Devon Toner is looking to extract himself from the situation. 2 minutes to half-time.
8, 6, 4.
Single-point game, 3 tries, 2 for Leinster, 1 for Glasgow.
Release now.
Gray again, read by Tracy. Good pickup. 6-7 metres short. Sean O'Brien's got his hands on that, and now he's taken out of it almost. Batty again. Glasgow clear out is good. This is very promising. A little bit of your own medicine here from Leinster's point of view, as Glasgow keep it in tight with the likes of Cummins there again on the carry up to 5 metres. Price waits.
Use it.
Batty to his left. Patient and purposeful. Will there be penetration?
Isolated, he's very isolated.
No!
Peter Horn manages to get it back. Ali Price on the short little pass. No way through on that occasion for Brown, the hooker. Now they go out the back door. Hastings over the top. Oh, that's lovely. Brilliant delivery. And Tommy Seymour will not miss from there. This is a really good game of rugby developing between two sides, playing extremely well.
That is... we've got the perfect angle up here in the commentary box. I was just calling out for that ball over the top, but it's so risky. If he gets that wrong, Dave Carney goes the whole length, but he's got it spot on. What a pass off the left hand here from Adam Hastings. And that's what I talk about, his decision making at the line. It's become so much better. Tommy Seymour reads it, and what a finish.
But it was like one of those diagonal crossfield kicks a GA player, a soccer player might do, just knowing where he's running into, floating the ball into that space.
If you wait until the 40, you won't restart.
It's one of those ones where when you're piling on the pressure, like we know that Leinster are happy to go up to 30, 40 phases. Lots of other teams become impatient themselves, and when to release that ball, when to actually go wide, and that was an excellent example of when to do it and keep the law of averages on their side.
Yeah, but I also think that Glasgow, with the way they play, and it's sort of quite, Leo Cullen spoke about it beforehand, can get quite loose when it gets into multi-phase. They need to score within 10 phases, within maybe 6 phases. Leinster can go the 30 phases. They've got all their game covers everything really.
Really entertaining 40 minutes of rugby, and this will be the final act of it from Adam Hastings. Really difficult conversion attempts. Didn't really strike it as he would have liked. He tried to keep it low, but what a game we've had. What a 40 minutes at the RDS in Dublin. 18 points to 12, the half-time score. And the overtures were coming into this game that it would be very, very delicately poised, and so it is. We've had the two Carney brothers on the try score sheet for Leinster. We've had Sam Johnson and Tommy Seymour for Glasgow. Half-time at the RDS, Leinster 12, the Glasgow Warriors 18.
I want to talk to you about the restrictions we're all under because of coronavirus, and reassure you that the Scottish Government is working night and day to do the very best it can for the people of Scotland through this pandemic, guided by the very latest medical and scientific advice. Every single life is precious. So before we can think about lifting or lessening any of the restrictions, we must make sure that we can keep everyone safe. There are some early signs of hope. But if we lift restrictions too early, we could see a rise in cases that would risk lives and overwhelm our NHS. You've been doing a great job of following the advice and staying at home. You're saving lives every day, but it is vital that you stick at it to slow the spread of the virus so we protect our NHS and keep more of our loved ones safe. Thank you for everything you're doing to help.
Okay, welcome back. A super first half there. Luke, let's get straight into the tries. Dave Carney, through, I suppose, Glasgow are playing into a very strong wind here, couldn't exit and gave Leinster the opportunity to get over for that pressure try.
Yeah, it's hard to see here on television, but I think most teams playing into that kind of wind will probably try and hang on to the ball, which is what Glasgow have done, but they made a mistake, probably got a bit too expansive, Tommy, trying to come out of their own 22 and gave Leinster the possession back in the 22. This is a lovely, we're looking at the finish here now. That was a super pass over the top by Jameson Gibbs Park. Great to see Dave Carney calling for the ball, hungry when there was an opportunity, and he finished it really, really well. There's nothing Stuart Hogg can do, but again, there's a lesson in that. You can't be too expansive. If you're going to try and play it out, make sure there's an opportunity for you to do so. If you force things, you'll just add pressure onto your pack, and it'll be really hard to get back out of there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Glasgow got themselves right back into it. A super break by Ali Price, and then Sam Johnson with a super finish.
Yeah, he's been super. Ali Price has been real busy. This was the incident they were kind of looking back at and wondering. To be fair, Michael Bent is cleared out within the ruck here, and it leaves maybe the lads could do a little bit better on plugging that inside. But what a finish. Unbelievable pace to get away, and a brilliant inside ball. And he's a lot of work to do here to get and defend. Ross just back on the pitch. It's a super handoff. Yeah, it is. And look, you'd say he's travelling high, but that's a skill you practice You know, and you mightn't get the opportunity to. That offload there is just incredible, but the fend here is just brilliant. Keeps him at bay and actually uses him to give him momentum to get over the line.
It's disappointing technique. Your inside hand should be blocking that down, Tommy. Top class internationals and players should be blocking that fend there. He saw it from a mile away. He had an easy tackle to make. So disappointing. I think Leinster will be disappointed with a lot of that defence.
Well, that's it. I mean, there were 2 late tries. Leinster got themselves back into it. Rob Kearney getting over.
Yeah, again, great endeavour from the forwards. Seemed to be phase after phase of pressure on the Glasgow defence, and they held up particularly well. But this is a lovely finish here, and Ross Byrne makes amends for the missed tackle. Lovely no-look pass to Rob Kearney, who hangs on to it. Initial bit of a fumble, but that's a super finish and good reward for the pack. They needed something, Tommy, I thought, because they've been banging on a wall for a long time there.
And I'd love if the Leinster backs were offering more out for the forwards. They're just leaving the forwards at it for 19 fades. It's an awful lot. You want guys on it a bit more.
Yeah, we're looking at the last bit of defence here. This is just really disappointing. It's just no man's
super pass by Hastings.
Yeah, it was, Tommy, but they're numbered up perfectly here. I just don't know how you end up in that.
Well, we spoke about how dangerous Tommy Seymour is before the match, and that just showed that outside break.
But he didn't even have the ball. So look, that was really disappointing defence. Leinster will have a look at that and think they should be doing much better. They were numbered up perfectly. It's disappointing, you know, because they had lots of pressure for long periods of the game. Your forwards are working really hard. You make a mistake like that, it really costs the team.
Okay, let's get back up to our commentary team of Hugo Southwell, Liam Toland and Conor Morris.
Welcome back. So 6 points the difference at half-time in favour of the Glasgow Warriors, who, as we've been saying all afternoon, are doing their level best to go back top of their conference and stay on course for that home semi-final. Can Leinster in the second 40 minutes do their arch rivals Munster a little bit of a favour? It's Munster who are top of the conference as we speak on 73 points, 2 points ahead of the Warriors. Munster would dearly love a home semi-final. Sean Cronin is in, James Tracy is off, and Cian Healy is in, and Tadhg Furlong. So the 3 that we fancy will start in the Leinster front row next week against Toulouse, who have been thrust into action here by Leo Cullen. Here's Ross Byrne. On it goes to Henshaw. Devon Toner. Confirmation of those switches. Here is Ross Byrne again, away to Sean O'Brien. Tackled by Peter Horne, who was brought in during that first half for Sam Johnson, one of the 2 Glasgow try scorers. Tommy Seymour with that finish right on 40 minutes. Putting Glasgow back in front. Robbie Henshaw, he's carried well today, a little bit loose towards Dave Kearney. The 2 Kearney brothers on the score sheet this afternoon.
Advantage over.
Interesting to see how the sides cope, having turned around. Leinster now into this wind, of course, substantial wind, as we keep saying. There's Larmour.
No.
Jack Dunn protected that pretty well. Ross Byrne flat to the line. He's always available, Keelan Doris.
You holding him there.
Chomani. Scott Cummins endeavouring just to try and rip that clear from the tackle. Doesn't quite manage it.
Release.
There's Tadhg Furlong's first intervention. Ross Byrne. Doris again. Fraser Brown up to make the tackle. Cleared out by Cian Healy. Now Rob Kearney hits the line. Larmour at scrum half. Good take from Toner out in front of him.
A great defensive read from Johnny Gray.
He was only inches short. Toner just got his big limbs out to get a hold of it. Now O'Brien. Larmour, a little bit of space to get those feet moving. And he does get beyond the first tackle, that of Kyle Steen. Back on the inside, Matawalu was there. O'Brien to Byrne. Taken on by Sean Cronin. What can they manufacture here? Difficult one for Rob Henshaw, but again, it's about the good read this time from Tommy Seymour.
It's unusual, Conor, that after 40 minutes rugby, you've actually only one scrum. This is the second scrum in the match, and what's more unusual is you replace your entire front row after having only one scrum. But what a front row Leinster have brought on. And again, very comfortable in building phases. The last mistake obviously leading to this scrum, but well into double figures in phase building.
Yeah, the defensive set from Glasgow really good, you know, just keeping their shape well. And there, Tommy Seymour just making the read, saw they had the numbers, came in from the outside, blindsided Robbie Henshaw, and an easy opportunity there to get the ball back. But I think what's interesting in the start of the second half, Glasgow have come out. I said to Liam off air, I said, how are they going to approach it? They're going to kick from deep. That's exactly what they've done. Adam Hastings' first two opportunities, he went for the kicks, but they have to kick better than he did. The two kicks he made weren't effective. They can't do that with this back three of Leinster.
Yes, yeah. Work on the gap. We had one scrum in the first half. It was also. No, it wasn't a gap. No. Work on the gap.
Marius Matrea's scrum analysis of that one scrummage we had was it was so-so.
I wonder how many names he's put on his travelling squad for the Rugby World Cup. A lot of rugby to be played between now and then, of course, Conor.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he'll be enthused to see the likes of Robbie Henshaw and Devon Toner coming back. Particularly when Leinster have got these big games coming up, these massive knockout rugby games. He'll be happy to see the front row in there. I think about 185, 190 caps or thereabout between Cronin, Healy and Furlong. Penalty coming here.
So you can see that once Glasgow got the front forward momentum going, and as a prop pops up, then the advantage is always given to the scrum that's in ascendancy. In this case, Glasgow got a great shunt, and both Glasgow loosehead and Leinster tighthead pop up under the pressure, and the referee would typically give that penalty to the team going forward.
Yeah, and you could see that was they had a consented effort. You know, as soon as they got that scrum, they know they've got the win. They know if they get a penalty, suddenly territory brings them inside the 22, which is exactly what Stuart Hogg's done.
Absolutely, right down to that 22, and that's a big psychological boost for Glasgow, and particularly in that kind of company.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? 6. Stay 10-9.
So a big opportunity here for Fraser Brown. That's a big turnover from Leinster. Good pickup from Gibson Park. Carried out by O'Brien. Ross Byrne now, Tremonti. Rob Carney. Larmer, one-on-one with Hogg. Dinks one over the top, all on the bounce here. It's behind everyone. Tremonti's over it now. Has he managed to turn that over for Leinster? He has.
Top marks for Tremonti for working hard. The bouncing ball always gives an opportunity. No one knows exactly where it's going. But as soon as he went to deck, Tremonti was boom over it like a classic open side wing forward.
Josh Murphy.
Yeah, look where that's come from. A turnover, Glasgow line out, and then the execution outstanding here. Jordan Larmour there just chipping over the top. And what's impressive here, that Marius Matrea for the first half gave the ball carrier a lot of time on the ball. But this time you could see the clear jackal there from Joe Tremonti. Great work on the floor.
There's the middle.
So Ross Byrne has put this down to the Glasgow 22.
Black, open.
Didn't endeavour to take too much out of it.
5-man line out with Sean O'Brien in midfield.
Devon Toner, Gibson Park. Henshaw on the short pass to O'Brien. It's read by the Warriors' defence. Toner again. Gibson Park, this time he goes beyond O'Brien to Keelan Doris, and Ross Byrne is double hit. Line speed and defence has been very good all afternoon from Glasgow. You'd expect that. Cian Healy shrugging off a couple of challenges. Typical appetite for the contact and really good carry. Back inside. Doris now, he's had a very good game. He's stopped by Adam Ashe.
And Jordan Larmour is just down here in front of us, getting very animated and impatient. He feels that he needs the ball quickly to score in the corner.
Will he get it? And they go to Tadhg Furlong instead for now, at least. There he is, drifting infield now. Sean O'Brien.
Advantage.
Oh, that's loose.
Play advantage, scrum advantage.
Big contact coming in Sander Ferguson maybe just dislodged that ball from the Leinster captain, Sean O'Brien, in the contact area. Hogg.
Advantage
Had
over.
to improvise. And that's a measure of the
Advantage
elements,
over.
and Glasgow going to find it tough in this half to combat these conditions. Swirling around now, it was definitely very much into Glasgow's face in the first half, but a little bit, it's buffeting around now in the second half a little bit more.
Yeah, he did really well there, Stuart Hogg, initially. Just needed a bit more composure. I think he felt Gibson Park was just snapping at his heels and he was going to tap tackle him as he went to kick it, but frustratingly only hit the 22.
Ball.
Good take from Jack Dunn.
20, move away.
Adamash has got to get out of there. It's
Number 5.
there for Gibson Park. Henshaw this time. Back on the short side. Cian Healy took it. Gibson Park again. Leinster regather to Mani. Gibson Park to O'Brien this time. Support from Doris. And they're queuing up now. Furlong. That's another good take from Jack Dunn.
Release now.
He's been very impressive on his first start this afternoon. Sean O'Brien head down, running hard and straight at Jamie Batsey. So too Cian Healy. Takes two to bring him to ground. Ross Byrne now flat to Larmour. Larmour's got Matawalo and Hogg to deal with. Well, taken on here by Cronin, got his hands away. Keelan Doris to Devon Toner. Brilliant stuff from Leinster, up to 5 metres. Ross Byrne is screaming for it. Glasgow come through, it's only a knock-on advantage. No penalty. Gibson Park, Ross Byrne drifts one over this way to Larmour. Back in field he goes, good continuity again, up to 13 phases. Rob Carney into contact. Cronin, Furlong there. Devon Toner 2. Leinster queue up and look to find a little bit of space. Ross Byrne got his hands free, gets the offload away. Now, Jack Dunn.
Away 6.
It's Rob Harley just loitering with intent on the wrong side. Gets away with it though, nothing doing. Knock-on advantage. Dave Carney it was in there. And now Gibson Park. Sean O'Brien. Away comes Josh Murphy. It was his line-out turnover about 5 minutes ago that led up to this 18-phase move here.
No hands, 6, no!
Cummins tackle on Jack Dunn.
Counteracting, no, don't!
Ross Byrne, little show and go, can't get beyond
Advantage
Matt Fagerson. Furlong. It's relentless. Energy sapping stuff from both teams. Great defensive effort again from Glasgow. That's a really important clear out there. O'Brien again. 23 phases. Well, we saw Benetton make Leinster make 306 tackles, was it last week? Glasgow making a huge amount of tackles this afternoon. Gibson Park around the fringes. O'Brien wanted it, didn't get it.
Okay, right.
The ball is there again, inside the 5-metre line. We're heading for 30 phases again.
No hands.
And can they find the score? They did on the last occasion from Rob Carney when they were camped inside that Glasgow 22. Cian Healy sizing up the options here. Every inch, every foot, every metre is good for Leinster, and Cian Healy made a yard or two, so too Devon Toner.
No hands, no touch, 6.
Tyke Furlong. 32 phases. Is there space at the end of it all? Well. You wait 3 years for a try and 2 come in almost identical circumstances for Rob Carney. He gets his second of the afternoon, and again Leinster just wear the opposition down over 30 phases, and Rob Carney gets Leinster's 3rd try of the afternoon.
And you've got to give huge credit to both sides. Not only Leinster for giving the patience to get through those 32 phases, but Glasgow's defence holding them out as well and forcing them to score out wide. But great composure from this Leinster side. They don't know when they're beaten. They don't know when they haven't scored. And the end, Carney on the end of a flat pass from Ross Byrne.
I know it's not a day for scrummaging because the skill set is so high, but the impact that the Leinster front row bench have done in those carrying around the corners, Tyke Furlong, Cronin making a break, looking for the offload, and Cian Healy. You're talking about tackling, Conor. It's impossible to tackle this guy. The first guy landing him, he just doesn't quit, and every yard he gains gives opportunity for someone like Rob Kearney to benefit. But that's a Leinster front row bench that have come on and really impacted.
We talked about Cian Healy and his rampaging best. His leg drive is absolutely out of this. I mean, it's amazing. He just doesn't know when he's beaten, doesn't know when he's put down. Just keeps going, and it just brings everyone else onto him.
Oh, the strike is absolutely sublime from Ross Byrne. And it's Leinster with their noses back in front. 3 tries to 2, 19 points to 18. Fascinating game of rugby here.
But in many ways, Hugo, like Leinster haven't done anything massively creative. They've just been brutally ruthless around the fringes, gaining those 1 yards, clearing out, making sure that the ball's recycled well, and giving opportunity to the guys beside them. There isn't a massive amount of offloading or creative play, but it's brutally ruthless.
Well, Rob Kearney before today had managed only 1 try in 5 years. Now he's got 2 in the space of 20 minutes. Good day for the Kearney household. What a kick that was from that man, Ross Byrne. Here's Cronin.
One off it.
And you feel these are the areas where Glasgow have got to be as aggressive as they've been in other parts of the pitch to make it very difficult for Leinster to get out of their half.
And Leinster piling through, making life difficult. Sander Fagerson. And they tidied that pretty well there, Ali Price. Here they come again, Hastings. Keeps ball in hand, he's strong in possession. Sean Cronin stuck to the task. That's going forward, has it from Fagerson.
It was such a pity, wasn't it? Because Adam Hastings had made a quality line break and he was just running out of pitch space. He was hunting for someone to run off his shoulder. There was just no one there. It really greater reward should have come from that line break from Hastings.
Yeah, you could just see here the defensive scramble defence on the inside. You see there just trying to block the inside pass. Did it enough to get in the eye line of Adam Hastings, but it was just here as Under Fagerson comes, 2-man tackle. Good work there from Tad Furlong.
Are we ready? Yeah.
Well, this will be an interesting flashpoint after what happened over on the far side with that Glasgow penalty.
Gap was good. Work on like that, okay?
No, the last scrum, it was an actual Glasgow put in, so in theory 7 against 8. This time Glasgow have a full 8 to pack down. Big moment for Leinster.
Crouch! Okay, listen to me. You need to stay straight, show a little bit more shoulder. You need to go in. Don't go look for head to head. Okay. Work this out. Let's go.
Let's go. Great work, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Good balance, boys.
Left.
Let's go back. Let's go front. Second. Come on, coach. Let's go, Sonny. Rose. Yeah, tight. Boys.
Crouch.
Set.
Bind. Set.
So Gibson Park feeds the Leinster scrum. 19 points to 18 they lead.
Use it now.
That's a quality platform from Leinster.
Henshaw again. Gibson Park assessing the options. Electing not to kick into the strong breeze. They go instead to Ross Byrne, and he gets it away to Rob Kearney. And he finds his brother Dave Kearney. 3 tries between them this afternoon.
Release now.
And back it goes from Josh Murphy. Gibson Park to Cian Healy. Ross Byrne. Henshaw. Good tackle, Fraser Brown. Byrne again.
Not held.
Doris not held in the challenge. Cronin. Tackled by Horn. Head down from Tyg Furlong. Henshaw moves it wide this time. Dave Kearney. Cross comes Kyle Stain to make the challenge. Through goes Rob Henshaw.
No.
Glasgow player on the ball is
Missed it.
right under the
Second
eyes of
time.
Marius Maitreya, and Matt Fagerson's not going to get away with that.
Number 8, second time.
He's been biting on a number of occasions, Fagerson, at the breakdown. He's been visibly disappointed when he's not given the credit for it, and I think he just hunted too much there. That's more frustration than anything else, not getting the reward, and he knows he did wrong.
Yeah, first bite is okay, and then he just keeps on going at it. But what I've noticed about Leinster, we talked in the first half about not having options. They seem to have completely shifted in the second half. Options all over the place, out the back, flat balls, tip-ons, far more creative.
Sean O'Brien is going off, so too Robbie Henshaw. Kieran Frawley is coming in, and Max Deegan also.
So the captain has gone off, so I wonder who is taking the armband.
Good. There's the middle.
Many leaders still on the pitch, obviously.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to look too far beyond Devon Toner in your picture. So many options.
Step. Yeah. Okay. Okay, you got a point. Step now. Step. Okay. You slowed it down. Step now.
Interesting to see how Frawley slots into midfield. We've seen him at fly half, of course, in his normal position, and indeed at fullback this season for Leinster. He's going to play in the midfield. Penalty coming here. Sean Cronin carries it on, and now Jack Dunn has got his hands on it.
Yes, advantage.
Keelan Doris again. They're making good progress here, and on they go. Really good work from Leinster.
Step back. One stop.
Ball is there for Gibson Park. Frawley. Byrne. Oh, he slings one all the way out to Larmour, and he says, go ahead, take on your man, and he does, and he gets it away to Rob Kearney, and now Dave Kearney, and Kearney, can he get in? And the Kearney brothers are running riot this afternoon at the RDS. It's 2 tries apiece now for Rob and Dave, and Leinster have their bonus point.
You were looking there what position Kieran Frawley would have stepped into, but that is a quality balancing of assets. Frawley takes the ball on, and right behind him is Ross Byrne. Two brilliant distributors that give opportunity for players wide out. I think Hogg did excellently to stop Larmour initially, but then the wave of blue jerseys that came in, it was just too much for Glasgow to cope with.
Yeah, and how many times we've seen that wrap around there from Leinster. It's slightly different to the traditional one we see with Johnny Sexton. But it was Peter Horn who stepped in defence, who created the space out wide, gave Jordan Larmour a bit of space to create out here. But from here, they still had a lot to do. And the two Kearney brothers combining well. Dave Kearney with a finish.
I'm sure they're having a little sideline bet as to see who's going to get the hat-trick first.
That's what we talked about beforehand as well, about the Leinster players coming off the bench and just stepping into the structures. You know, Frawley comes off the bench, puts in the perfect pass out the back. It's not always easy. It looks easy, but he's just performed it clinically.
But Ross Byrne's left-hand pass, taking into account the wind to float the ball into the breadbasket of Larmour, is pretty quality pass too.
Yeah, and we gave Adam Hastings the credit for his pass over the top. That was equally as good there from Ross Byrne.
Very Very, very tight, difficult angle. We're right behind that one, and he doesn't quite make it on this occasion. 24 points to 18, 29 tries now for Dave Kearney, 41 for his brother Rob, 4 on the afternoon for Leinster, and this was really good. Lovely finish.
Yeah, great finish from Dave Kearney. He's so strong, really low centre of gravity there, just gets down, bumps off Matawalu, and manages to scrape in the try. And what a turnaround, 24-18 from 18-12 at half-time. It's been all Leinster.
Time.
So Adam Byrne is in. As Tamani takes the restart.
Use it.
So Rob Kearney's not going to get his hat-trick because it is he who has gone off.
It's carried back. Use it. It's carried back, 9.
Gibson Park waits. Leinster have got their bonus point try. 2 tries in this second half. Is there a way back into it now for Glasgow?
Hey, careful.
So much at stake for them. Much prefer, of course, a home semi-final. It's a pretty fraught and circuitous route to have to go through, albeit a home quarter-final, but then potentially coming back here for a semi-final against the current champions Leinster. Price. Taken on by Scott Cummings. Devon Toner with a challenge, but Glasgow get the ball away.
Lost. Stay back.
Changes in that Warriors front row as well now. A little bit of space just for a fraction of a second. Hogg, good tackle, good read.
Easy.
Solid defence again from that man, Dave Kearney. Straight up the middle goes Sander Fagerson, Price, Hastings. Matawalu was screaming for it. Peter Horn goes through a gap. Max Deegan just gets a hand on him. Scrag tackle inside that Leinster 22. Just manages to bring him to ground. Strong carry from Hastings. Thumping straight into Sean Cronin. There's an advantage to the Warriors here. Matawalu. And if one player can take advantage of an advantage, Matawalu can't.
This is a big call out because Glasgow need at least a bonus point. Looking at the table there.
Stop for injury.
Obviously they look for the win.
We're going back for a penalty.
But a bonus point is crucial. They got to come out of here with something to keep their hopes alive at that home semi-final. And not to mention, if they don't get the home semi-final, if they play an extra match, they won't want that.
No, and I think the penalty here, they've got to take the 3 points. They've got to get it back to within 3. There's every chance of a draw. The draw could be a massive result for Glasgow as well. You know, just sneak them into the... And also, don't forget they've got 2 tries as well, so they could be pushing if they get closer for a bonus point on tries as well. So there's all to play for. Every result for Glasgow, whether it's a losing bonus point or a draw, everything is going to stand in their favour.
A lot of pain on Tyke Furlong's face there, isn't there?
Yeah. Initially I thought it was a clash of heads, but it wasn't. It was on the way down. He just twisted that left knee and after the contact with Fraser Brown.
Yeah, send him in.
And they literally have, those 3 have been absolutely brilliant since they came on the front 3 replacements for Leinster.
Peter Horn did very well. Again, he's very strong with that handoff.
The penalty is over there. Number 4 not rolling away. Number 4 blue not rolling away. Yeah, slowing the contest down.
Again, I think it's crucial they take 3 points and they come back using the wind and put pressure back in Leinster.
9 blue. Yeah, he's coming off now.
I think he's going to
scrum
kick it
half,
down
by the way, for Leinster. Hugh Sullivan is coming in, but this is going in the corner, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. I did think it was slightly closer inside the 15. It is a bit wider than I thought, but still, you would have thought they'd go 3 points.
Another replacement for Leinster, number 3, Michael Bent returns in place of number 18, tied for long.
Okay, sir.
Well, hugely important passage of play here potentially for Glasgow as they look to eat into this lead and potentially get their noses back in front in what is a crucial game, remember, for them. And that's a pretty good drive off that line out. They must be over here. Marius Maitre goes around to have a look, but listen to the roars from that Glasgow pack as they drive over that Leinster line, and they do have their try. I think it's Matt Fagerson who's going to get his name on the score sheet. Yes, indeed, it's the number 8 who comes up with the ball.
There we were thinking conservatively here in commentary, thinking 3 points to get to, first of all, one step towards the bonus point, but this Glasgow team are much hungrier than that, and they fancy their chances. That's a quality line-out, and it's a super line-up maul. Leinster had no chance in any shape or form to slow it or to disintegrate it.
Yeah, absolutely no question about that.
Yeah, and you have to say the way that this Glasgow team play, they do like to go for the driving line-outs. They do like to go for the corners when there's an opportunity for a 3 point. So they got their just rewards there. And what a kick this is now for Adam Hastings.
Well, he's been very good this season. His percentage is usually hovering just above 80%. Conditions could barely be more tricky. And he struck that absolutely beautifully. Really well worked in from that right-hand side from Adam Hastings. And Glasgow are back in front.
It's Leinster 24, Glasgow Warriors 20.
It was no coincidence that Johnny Gray himself was the target in the line-out. We've mentioned him a few times, but he has been phenomenal around the fringe, around his swallow-up tackles and just soaking in blue shirts.
Number 21, George Horn, replacing number 9, Ali Price.
Yeah, what they've done well, Glasgow, today is every time they've got an opportunity, we've seen them for the last 20 minutes, they've been defending. You know, Leinster have had the ball, they get an opportunity, they get down in the 22 and they take it.
Yeah, it's very intriguing to watch. Very delicately poised, like two real heavyweights just taking turns to batter the other one on the ropes, and it's when the opposition can come back with a counter punch like that that makes it really fascinating.
Use it!
I don't think a ball became a ruck, but it did there.
George Horn in at scrum half now for the Warriors. 7 tries in the game, and crucially Glasgow need to get their 4th. Plenty of energy off the bench from Flockhart there in the carry. Hastings now needs to get away from Cian Healy, pops one out the back, and that's the element of risk and reward about Glasgow's number 10 that makes him both compelling and it's sometimes frustrating if you're a Warriors fan, I'm sure.
But why are they playing the game in this half?
Release, Blue.
I totally agree. You've just...
backwards.
Oh, he's lucky there as well. They've just got to play down there. They've got to play territory.
Use it.
The breeze at their backs, and it's there for Alex Allen.
And that's not being conservative by nature. That's just being... You're ahead on the scoreboard. Here we go.
Stop. Blue cap. Okay.
Straight down the middle. Really difficult one for Larmour to take. That ball moved in the air. Watched it all the way. Took it really well. And away he goes. Taken on by Bent. Back inside it goes from O'Sullivan. Frawley quickly on to Carney from Larmour. Let's just jump across to the far side because John Fogarty has been very patiently waiting to talk to us. Single point game, 7 tries on the board. John, what do you expect is going to happen over the next 12 minutes? Anyone's game, isn't it?
It certainly is. The way Glasgow are playing at the moment, you could expect just about anything. You know, they're continuing to play in their own half. You know, they need to keep playing to win this game. For us, we need to make sure we're putting more pressure on them when they have the ball. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish, I would imagine. Let's hope it stays the way it is. Or let's hope we get over. Let's hope we get over the line.
I can see you've been a busy man. There's been quite a few injuries. You've been in and out of the pitch. Listen, great day for the Carneys so far, sharing those 4 tries. Good to see Rob getting back on the score sheet, but also very rewarding from a Leinster point of view to go through 25, 30 phases, John, and still have that ruthless finish.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah. You know, we gave the guys a rev up at half-time. We needed 10% more from everybody, and we did that early in this half. I think we need to get that energy back in us to finish this game off well. And it is good to see some guys back. Dev, Robbie, Rob, as you said, you know, they're all looking healthy, so yeah, not a bad thing.
Yeah, and just final word on, you mentioned all the big guns coming back in, but what about young Jack Dunn on his first start to come into that kind of company? Devin Toner, Robbie Henshaw, he looks very, very much at home out there.
Yeah, really, really happy with him. You know, he worked so hard on the pitch, and he got through a lot of work in that first half. He'll learn to clean up little bits, but we're really, really happy with the way he's going at the moment.
John, thanks for your patience and your time as always.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. In the meantime, John Fogarty's team very much on the back foot. What a little kick through that was from Glasgow.
Yeah, we were crying out for territory. And that's where you just need that experienced head. Stuart Hogg just off the edge, off the outside of the right foot. He lucky with the bounce, some might say.
The gap is good.
But brilliant attacking play. I tell you what was good about it initially was that every single pass was in front of the man running onto the ball. And I know it sounds obvious and I know it sounds easy, but exactly what they did.
Well, that's loose. Referee's playing an advantage here. Did that go forward off
Just a knock-on advantage?
Well, I think the Glasgow are suggesting that the line-out throw was done from inside the pitch. Rarely is that picked up.
No, you wait. Use it!
Now Sullivan waits here.
No. Advantage over.
And they're not going to get themselves quite out of trouble just yet, Leinster, because they're still only 6-7 metres out.
Yeah, exactly the part of the pitch that they want to be.
So Sean Cronin, like his toes are on the pitch. Now he's actually on the pitch. So there is an argument. The law states that you can't actually do that.
You also wonder what the touch judge is doing, because that is...
Yeah, well, that's John McEnroe stuff, you know. Did Wimbledon in the late 70s.
Hey, stay 10.
Fraser O'Brien. In these conditions again, that's very good from Glasgow. Very tidy, good communication, and they've executed it particularly well. From a not dissimilar position from where Matt Fagerson scored their try just a short time ago. Can they find another one now? A crucial one, a bonus point try, and potentially one that would deliver a win here, and a win they need. They're only inches short of the try line. Peter Horn, I think it was, on the carry on that occasion. On the follow-up, can they get the ball down there? A metre short. Michael Bent is there for Leinster, just trying to sandbag that try line. These are huge moments in Glasgow's season. Oh, and they find a way over for the try. They get the bonus point try. And Glasgow edge further in front, and it's the other Fagerson, Sander this time, that gets the try, and that could be a crucial moment in the game and in the business end of this season for Dave Rennie's Warriors.
I just think that Johnny Gray did exceptionally well in that line-up maul, setting it up, controlling it all, and giving the platform for Glasgow to keep going. They kept their shape as best they can. Leinster did brilliantly to bring it down initially and to disrupt it. But when you got a player of that physique, Fagerson, that close to the line, is very difficult to stop him.
And how big a try could that be for Glasgow? 2 points behind Munster at the moment.
Where you are.
If they go on to win this game, that's 5 points, 3 points clear at the top of Conference A. That means next week, even against Edinburgh, you know, they could afford to lose the game and get a bonus point, unless Munster went and got 5 at Connacht next week. So it's all to play for, but crucial that they've got that bonus point if they win.
Again, it's a difficult kick, but he's been very, very good this afternoon, Adam Hastings. And that's another very, very nice strike indeed. And it just stretches out that lead. Time running out now for Leinster, and it takes them beyond a single score. So they're looking pretty good now. 8 tries in the game, 4 apiece.
Time on.
It looks like
Glasgow in the box seat.
Glasgow have a massive tactical decision to make. Where do they play the last 7 minutes of this match?
Backwards by Blue.
Yeah, because it's almost like a shot to nothing for Leinster, as we said. There's much more on the game for Glasgow rather. Leinster really just trying to maintain their unbeaten record at home. Meanwhile, we've had Will Connors come in off the bench. That's the 56th player that Leinster have used this season, and great to see him back. He did his ACL pre-season against Newcastle, you may recall, so his first action of the campaign. Ross Byrne. Carried on by Keelan Doris. There for O'Sullivan. Frawley now. Tamani.
Knock on. Advantage over.
And Glasgow quite happy through Hogg just to thump one downfield, and that is exactly where they need to be.
Well, as soon as that ball was turned over, Dave Kearney was sprinting backwards, knowing what Hogg was trying to do. He was trying to get himself out of a dungeon before he diagonal kicked it. You might see it in the monitor here. Kearney is flying down the tram tracks and just misses the ball by inches. Quality kick.
Yeah, I have to say he's judged that, whether on purpose or not. He just wanted to get it down there over the head of Kearney. As soon as you turn the wingers, they're under pressure, and he did exactly that, Stuart Hogg.
So across goes Sean Cronin. Fraser Brown has gone off, and Grant Stewart is in. Devon Toner has taken the Leinster line out.
One stop, 9.
Well, we thought it would be entertaining, we thought there would be tries and that it would be high scoring, and it's ticked all those boxes. And Glasgow, having conceded 2 tries to go 24 points to 18 behind, have hit back with those 2 Ferguson tries, Matt and Zander. And once again, we're looking at the possibility, if not probability, that it will be Glasgow with a home semi-final. And that, of course, would eliminate the possibility of them having to come back here for a semi-final, which means the next time they see Leinster, it could be in that final in 42 days' time, in May the 25th. Quite a few things to be settled between now and then, though.
Don't kick. Kick the ball.
There was a boot attached to that.
Number
I think it was that of
the ball in the rock.
Peter Horn. Can't do that. Leinster penalty.
Yeah, one thing that Glasgow don't want to do now, despite kicking into the wind, is give away penalties. Just give away easy territory. Give an opportunity for this Leinster side. I said earlier in the game, they can score points quickly. You do not want to let this Leinster side score in the next minute or so, because make for a grandstand finish for the neutral, but not for this Glasgow side.
Step.
You can't do that anymore. Yeah, we've seen sides come here, and the mind goes back to Connacht at Christmas. They were in this type of situation, thought they had the game won, and then Leinster scored a couple of tries in quick succession in the dying embers of the game. They play the full 80 minutes. Bent takes that one from O'Sullivan, and he makes a yard or two. Ross Byrne to Cronin. O'Sullivan quickly recycled for Cian Healy.
No heads now.
Tamani, options over the top. One of them is Frawley, who just accelerated really well onto that pass to make sure that Glasgow couldn't get it. And away goes Max Deegan. Will Connors is in there in support. It's there for O'Sullivan. Here's Frawley. Keelan Doris now. Byrne on his outside. Good tackle coming in from Hugh Jones. Are we to get a grandstand finish? Alex Allen over the ball. Can't get his hands on it. Warned by Marius Maitreya. Here come Leinster again. The champions fighting back in a bid to retain their unbeaten record at this venue this season. O'Sullivan has a little bit of a snipe through on his hands and knees. Healy poised and ready. Support is there, tackle from Flockhart. Leinster inside 5 metres. Devon Toner plays scrum half. Ross Byrne out the back they go. Frawley, there's an extra man potentially in Adam Byrne. Pass didn't come from Deegan.
Because Peter Horn, I think, trapped the ball. Great second latch on.
No, did that go forward off Devon Toner? Referee says it's gone back. It's still there for Leinster. Yeah, it was a good tackle from Horn. Just wrapped up his man. No way through.
Release now.
Is there to be late drama in what has been a compelling game between two great sides? Glasgow have poured through and they've turned that over. 79 minutes on the watch, and that should be enough to seal the deal for the Glasgow Warriors. But look at this, they want to run from inside their own 22. Hogg, and Hogg's still going. He had support on the inside. George Horn was waiting. The pass didn't come.
According to touch options.
Oh, goodness me, it was there for the Warriors, and Hogg knows it. I'm not sure, did he know? Did he get a call from George Horn on the inside?
I don't think it would have mattered there. The turnover, you could see, I think it was Ferguson came in, turned the ball over, but George Horn on the inside as they counter-attacked.
Time off.
Here it is, he makes the break. He did definitely looked on the inside. You thought he was going to give it. There, he had a quick look. But he decided to go himself. George Horn was under the sticks.
And ultimately, I suppose, in the final analysis, with what have we got? Well, we're pretty much at the 80 minutes. I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. Short stoppage in play here. There's any amount of candidates for man of the match this afternoon. It's been a pulsating game with 8 tries, and let's hear who Liam Toland and Hugo Southall between them are going to give it to.
Well, as you said, 8 tries that dictated the top of Conference A without a doubt. Munster must be sitting there watching this in glee in many, many ways. The Carney brothers are superb, so was the Leinster front row when they came on, but for me, the Guinness man of the match was right in the heart of the trenches. Johnny Gray throughout, defensively was absolutely awesome, and in the line-out and the line-out maul, he was especially dominant. A quality performance from the big second row from Glasgow.
Yeah, Johnny Gray, absolutely outstanding. What was so effective is when they needed him, when they needed his physicality, he just upped his game another 10%. And especially in the second half, when they were under the cosh, they were under the pump, 24-18 down, he came to the fore again. So Johnny Gray, his other guy, Ali Price as well, has had a really good game, controlling things at 9. Adam Hastings, but Johnny Gray, the outstanding candidate.
And a warm round of applause from quite a few of the Leinster fans underneath us, appreciating what has been a huge shift by Ronnie's now played 101 times for Glasgow, and it's going to be,
you know, like, huge credit goes to the swashbucklers, but when the scoreboard is going against you, you need somebody, big guy, to stand up around the fringes and keep knocking back jerseys. And he's tackling, I don't know what it is, but it's certainly high into double figures. But it's not just tackling, he's knocking guys back every time.
Keelan Doris back it goes from Devon Toner. He shipped a pretty heavy challenge there, Toner, as Lorimer looks to make something from this.
Stay on your feet, rock.
Kieran Frawley comes away with it.
A word on the new combinations from Leinster as well. Great to have Robbie Henshaw back and Devon Toner. Like, Leinster have earned the right of their home semi-final some weeks back. So this is about getting their combinations right. And a lot of them shone. A lot of them, this is a really important match. Obviously, they'd like to win it, and they're disappointed they didn't. But to get those units back out on the pitch again is a big plus for Leinster.
Yes, ultimately it's going to be a rare home defeat, first of the season for Leinster. And they're still looking, hopefully, rather than expectantly, you feel, from this kind of position for a score that would bring a losing bonus point. Big game next week, not too far from here, in a European semi-final, and then they're going to be back here for a Pro 14 semi-final. Can they possibly do the double-double? Glasgow will have a big say, you feel, in the destination of this season's Guinness Pro 14 title. They would love to be in the final, and they're going to have the final say here, or are they? Marius Maitreya wants to have a little bit of a look at this.
Ollie.
Has George Horn scored a 5th try?
I have a feeling by his reaction, sometimes you're sort of a bit sheepish when you score those tries, but he looks pretty confident. He's the sort of guy who's got serious pace off the mark.
Just need to make sure his timing goes right.
And he was lightning quick. I didn't see too much wrong with this in real time. Here he comes.
The scrum half has the ball in his hands for a long, long time. The gentleman rules give you around the fringes a bit of time, but I think he's okay.
Well, let's see.
Like hands on there, he's okay.
He's fine.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Do you have an angle from the other side?
Yeah, we're just trying to get that for you now, Marius. Bear with us.
As I said, gentleman's rules would, the scrum half has a moment of time if you're a fringe defender, but out there you're okay.
Marius, I've got a decision.
You have a decision, Ollie?
Yes, you may award the try.
I may award the try, so
Yes.
he was onside
Yes.
at the moment when the ball was lifted.
Yes.
So no offside, so I may award the try.
Correct.
Try is good, no offside.
No offside. George Horn gets the try. They already had 5 points.
offside.
Now they have 5 tries.
He's onside when the ball is lifted and outside the rack, so I may award the try.
And that just drives home the Warriors' advantage. And if it is potentially a dress rehearsal for the grand final, well, they've laid down a little bit of a marker today, the Warriors. And over goes the extras, and that will be the end of proceedings.
Try for Glasgow, scored by number 21, George.